Hey, Deserve listeners, Darcey and Stacey. Let's watch.
But it's like a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster, but he's made some progress.
If it works out, it works out.
And if it doesn't, it's okay, life goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're gonna do some counseling.
Together, separate?
Wait, what? They're gonna go to couples counseling, or sometimes they'll say counseling, but they go to like some other kind of professional. Not to say that it wouldn't be helpful, but, well, is it gonna be ongoing? The couples that I work with for months, years, decades. It takes a long time. And I imagine for Darcey, it would take a long time to unpack all the things that need to be unpacked.
I mean, I don't get it. What are your intentions with Darcey?
We're working on the stuff, so...
I feel like you're just gonna go back to your old ways. You're gonna start fighting and then break up, you know, days, weeks later. It's like it. And
Okay, so I was a little worried as to what Stacey would say here, continuing what seems to be a distortion that it's all Georgie's fault and Darcey has no part in it. She didn't say that. What she said is she's worried about is that there's going to be drama and there's going to be breakups and it's all that stuff, which, you know, I think is a rational worry that you would have for your sister that doesn't necessarily assign blame in a distorted manner.
a cycle.
I don't want that. My intention is not to hurt her. My intention is to fix this relationship and to be together. We're gonna go do couple counseling because I think it's good to have someone independent to see what we do wrong.
Great. That he's planning on going to couple counseling. And two, he said couple counseling. So I've talked about this before, but back in the day, we called it couple counseling, not couples counseling or couple therapy, because it's not families therapy, it's not individuals therapy, it's individual therapy, family therapy, and couple therapy. You're not seeing multiple couples, there's one couple that you're treating. So or groups counseling, it's never pluralized, but for whatever reason, every once in a while you'd hear someone say couples counseling, because I think it is more easier to say or something. It rolls off the tongue more easily. And every time I would say, no, it's not couples, it's couple counseling. Or I would just not use the term couples counseling and resist it. In fact, my program at Antioch University is called the Couple and Family Therapy Program for that reason, right? And over time, I would start to hear not only lay people saying couples counseling, but I started to hear couple therapists saying it, and I would hear professors saying it and students saying it. And again, I would resist it, and I kept resisting it and kept resisting it. I've been a couple and family therapist since 1996, so to change how I call myself was not easy. But the tidal wave of the change in our culture, I think influenced by the public, has made it so I hear a lot of people saying couples counseling to the point where I'm now saying couples counseling, which is fine. I mean, language changes over time. But I don't know, couple counseling, family counseling, individual therapy, group therapy, couples. I guess it's easier to say. I think maybe part of it is like when you say couple counseling, it sounds like you're saying a couple of counseling or something. Whereas couples counseling, you would never say you have a couples of feet, you have a couples of kids or something, you would never say that. So I think it helps to delineate it from the number, a couple of, But Georgie used the real term, couple counseling.
Now you're okay with counseling. I mean, I don't...
Always being okay with counseling, but it takes two.
I mean, you guys are so up and down. I don't really know how Darcey deals with this. I really don't.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, it's not.
You see what I'm going through? It's not easy. It's easy to judge people judging our relationship.
See, this is the problem with you. You don't ever acknowledge what she's going through. It's always...
Because no one ever acknowledges what he's going through. So it's not... So she starts off by saying, it's really hard to see what you... And he's being diplomatic by saying, yeah, it's hard. Agreed, it's hard. I think she's trying to intimate that it's his fault. And he's not willing to admit that, which I have no idea what really happened between Darcey and Georgie. I can only go off of what we see on the show. All we had to do was drill down on one detail, and there were many. Darcey reached out to his ex multiple times, listened to everything that the ex said about Georgie in terms of anger and hatred and judgment and criticism, and Darcey agreed with it completely without any reservation, without any skepticism. And Georgie went, after months of that, seemingly, Georgie goes to Darcey's ex, talks to him for, I don't know, 7 minutes. Jesse is, dogging on Darcey the whole time. And Georgie says, no, I don't think so. That's not how I see Darcey. I think you have a distorted view. I think you're lying or something. And defended Darcey. And for that reason, Darcey said that Georgie was a completely horrible person. He betrayed her. He was a terrible human being. Now, I get that she didn't want him to talk to Jesse, and there's some nuances there. And then the friend of a friend, So again, maybe it's likely. I don't know the whole story. Of course, how would we? But in terms of what we saw, there was very little that we could identify as Georgie generating the problems in their relationship. Stacey is saying, the problems of the relationship, and Georgie's being very diplomatic. He's like, it's hard. I'm trying to work on things. We're going to couple counseling, and I just want things to go better. And then Stacey says, there you go again, completely denying that what you do to her. And in his mind, he's probably thinking, what did I do to her? Does anyone look? If we really want to get into it, how about someone acknowledging, including Darcey, what has been done to me? But I don't want to get into that. Let's save that for couple counseling. So let's see what happens here.
You had a whole month when we were in Turkey to figure your out.
You figured my out.
No, you didn't.
The time she was gone away, I was looking for answers, and I find so many answers.
You still don't have a job.
It's hard to find a job here. I
I
can go
think
in
you're just
this.
making up more excuses just to wheel her back in. You could have.
Prior to Darcey really pressuring him to move to their neck of the woods, I believe in Connecticut, he had a job, he had a home, he was paying rent, everything was fine, and Darcey asked him to move, asked him to get rid of his apartment, and he obliged. And now, pandemic-wise, he's saying it's hard to get a job. I don't know if it's really hard for him, but I would imagine that it would be hard. Who knows? But anyway, so it's just that mindset, and we just always have to wonder why. If we don't know the situation is being distorted, why would Darcey and Stacey do this? The best hypothesis I have is that they are transferring past situations onto the present. They're both transferring past Darcey relationships into the present, and are terrified of that happening again. The analogy that you might have is, say you get in a really, really bad car accident, and you're on the freeway, and someone comes out of nowhere and just hits you, and you get in a really, really bad car accident. Well, the next time you're in a car and you're on the freeway, and a car changes lanes kind of near you, you would imagine that your heart would jump, and you might have a fight or flight reaction because it kind of had the signs of what happened previously, even though it's definitely not what's happening right now. A car just changed lanes, it's fine. But since it has the slightest hint of something that very traumatic happened in the past, our body goes into fight or flight, and then we see the world through that fear reaction. I don't know if that's what's happening here.
You did some massages. Why didn't you do that?
I do. Virginia.
You did massages while we were in Turkey?
Yeah.
I could totally tell that Georgie's lying right in front of my face. He looks guilty. And if he was, Darcey would have told me.
He's just lying and manipulating to make himself look good.
There's that word, manipulating. What do we think his massive, the accusations, and it could be true, but the accusations that have been applied to him are one of an evil human being, that he uses her for money. He never liked her to begin. He doesn't love her. He is manipulative and conniving and abusive and toxic and gaslighting. All these words, I believe, have been used against him. And I just want to know. I would ask Stacey, like, what do you think his end game is? That he's in a relationship with Darcey and it's kind of hard to be in a relationship with her. It's not all fun and games. Like, he had a job, he had a home, everything was going okay for him. I don't know, maybe things were going horrible for him. But what's the thing here? Plus, when things were going well with them, it was well. I mean, Georgie wasn't mean to her. He was nice to her. Darcey was in love with him. And so even if money was part of the motivation, I mean, they seem to have a good relationship. Anyway, so I was just wondering, like, what's the... And you just have to wonder, either one, I have no idea what's really happening, or two, I'm completely misreading what we're seeing on the television show, or three, they're distorting.
Stop.
Chill.
No, I'm not gonna chill. You're lying. I'm done with this conversation. I'm done.
So maybe he is lying, but just based on what she knows about the situation, she's all angry and accusing him. And he's like, yeah, I want to work on me and Darcey want to work on a relationship. We're going to go to couple counseling. And she's like, why are you even here? And he's like, well, Darcey wanted me to move in. So I thought about it and said, okay. Well, you don't even work. You could have been working. He's like, well, actually, I was working. When you were in Turkey, I was working. No, you weren't. It's just like, talk about bias, right? Now, maybe he is lying. The possibility there is, why would he lie? Well, because he's being berated and accused and all these other things. Doesn't make it right, but let's just assume he's not lying until we have any kind of data to demonstrate otherwise. All right, well, that is it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.